living in London, and Turkey came up as one of those ANZAC tours. One of the things that resonated with me was always the abundance of fresh bread and the taste of this bread. So we've just taken that very simple way of making bread, any baker would make it that way, and then commercialised it. As we've needed more volume, we throw more hands at it.
It seems like such a simple thing, like anyone, if with a little bit of Google searching and some basic ingredients, and we saw this through COVID, can come up with a recipe to make a sourdough or a bread to enjoy. What's the complexity when you're having to make that at a scale and making hundreds of loaves?
It came down to the handmade process, and it's all about a bit of energy going into the bread, and it really is made with love. And I know that sounds a bit cliche when I say that, but to make a good sourdough or make any bread that's really going to taste good, there's a fine line between it's just some flour and water, making something that's pretty crappy to something that is fantastic, and that it just comes down to timing and the energy that you put into it, and then it flows through from the moment the water, the flour and the yeast react together. That product's alive, and it has to be treated with that love and energy right through the process. And so we've just taken that very simple way of making bread, any baker would make it that way, and then commercialised it. And we've just kept on throwing, as we've needed more volume, we throw more hands at it. So it's literally a very handmade product, which makes it quite unique to be pitched in the supermarket at a supermarket price point, which is traditionally, you've got to have a machine that makes 10,000 widgets an hour. We don't have that, we have these things. So I guess still we still are a niche player, and we innovate through bringing new product to market, and stuff that machines just can't make. It's as simple as that, and you'll taste the difference. That's the product stacks up for people, because it doesn't taste like it's made on a machine, because it isn't. It's hand thrown. Every single loaf and every single piece of dough that's coming out of this factory is hand thrown.
What's a couple of the newest products you've got in your range here today?
So we've been really happy with the performance of a plant-based product. So in our pizza range is a product which has got a cauliflower content in there. So that's something it's hit market. It had some appeal to dropping your carbs and introducing some vegetables, especially with kids. If people at home have got kids like my kids, it's hard to get enough vegetables into them. So this product, every slice of pizza, you actually, it's a sly way of getting some veggies into them, and the taste is great. So it's a product that we developed by being able to blend vegetable pulp into the doughs and still get the dough to react the way that it needs to react, and then kind of behave like a pizza base when it gets home, and crisp up and be a great experience for people. People don't want to compromise their meal over paying that little bit more for a product that is made by hand and delivers you a great tasting pizza at home.
It makes me think that actually that by volume, the base is the biggest part of the pizza that you're eating. Yeah. So that's the bit that you should be most focused on. How's the base going to taste, not what goes on top?
Well, it's like anything, isn't it? If you build a house, you want to have a solid foundation. So I guess that's what you're talking about. That's a building block of your meal right there. And if you compromise on that, what have you really got?
Prior to even starting Turkish Bread, there was a trip you went on to Turkey. Where did you travel through there?
So I was kind of living in London, and a lot of Kiwis doing their OE like to zip across to Europe, and Turkey came up as one of those ANZAC tours. So we ended up going through Çanakkale and Gallipoli and doing a dawn service. So that was quite a moving experience. It was interesting to wake up kind of on those slopes that it had been in the First World War. One of the things that resonated with me was always the abundance of fresh bread and the taste of this bread. Not dissimilar to France, but it was a different offering. But they baked several times a day, and it was a staple of the way they kind of part of their culture as well. So yeah.
So you're there for ANZAC, and then this unintended consequences of getting to know the culture and travelling around was the fundamental of bread, which goes back to the start of civilization.
Oh, very much so. The cornerstone of the Western, since we began farming and growing wheat, and it was very, their ovens were domed and very traditional, with wood-fired ovens. So it was, it was a neat thing to just see them baking and enjoying the product, the fruits of their labour. So yeah.
Was there a place that you asked for a recipe, or was it more you went back with the idea that maybe you would be interested in baking your own bread at one day?
Yeah, I think it was just one of those experiences that you chalk up, and it just sits in the back of your mind as something that may bubble up again. But certainly I didn't come away from there and think, wow, I'm going to be a baker one day. No. Back in the early 2000s, it was focaccia, and it's about as flash as you could get in the bread game in New Zealand. And it was, I remember as a kid getting Sunday loaf, which was something that was baked and put in a brown paper bag and was available at your dairy. And it was the best thing going because you could pick the crust off and get into the middle of that bread. So Turkish bread certainly was another bread product that tasted fantastic and was fresh, and gave people something to enjoy at home.
What was the first step you took to take that idea and then make it concrete and turn it into a product that's been baked that people can now see for sale and purchase?
I remember doing the first kind of test bakes out in Otahu, and I took it around to my dad, who was a big bread connoisseur, and he said, "That's the best bread I've ever eaten." And I said, "Yeah, I know." And it started from there. And
what keeps you going in this business? What's the thing that keeps you passionate about getting bread to New Zealanders across New Zealand?
Yeah, I guess for me personally, it is the people. I think, a lot of businesses will say the biggest asset and your biggest liability is the people, but it really is your biggest asset in this, because we don't have a lot of machines, we have a lot of these things, and just the creation of jobs and this is run like a family business because it's small enough to be that way, and the culture is good. So there's a lot of enjoyment coming out of that bakery from the people who work there. They're singing as they work, and the radio's on, and they're a pretty happy bunch of workers, and it gives me a real kick from that perspective, and it's nice to be a part of something that I'm proud to bring it to market. It's not, it isn't laced with preservatives, it isn't laced with sugar. It's something that I know is genuinely good, and that's what I tasted back in Turkey. That was genuinely good, and this is genuinely a good product.
As a business, through the pandemic last year, through lockdown, a lot of manufacturers, there was two different sides to it. Some got shut down completely, others were able to work from home, and then there was a group that became essential services. What was the Turkish bread experience amongst, going through the level 4s, 3s and so on? Yeah,
no, it certainly when the kind of COVID first appeared on our radar, it was really scary. I mean, we were a factory. We were told that up to 80,000 people were going to die, and it was going to be a huge problem in South Auckland and anywhere there was kind of density of populations, and different cultures could be more susceptible through that, and certainly factories overseas. And we put a lot of checks and balances in and controls to make our people safe, and we split lunch breaks, we had minimal contact, we had to invent glass screens to go in between bakers, and so and obviously we had full PEP gear on it. It was tough, but the one great thing was the traffic improved, so we had this clean run to get to work and make the deliveries. So there was and demand for our product went up during that initial lockdown because people were trapped at home, and I guess that pizza night was a good thing.
We are at the start of 2021 now. Where do you want to take the business this year?
Yeah, I mean, from a business perspective, we don't have a plan, and that's kind of the safest way to run in this new environment that we're in. you can make all the plans you want, but if you get locked in, what's going to happen to your plans? So yeah, we're a very flexible business. We've always been a manufacturer who doesn't have huge production lines that have to make a certain amount a certain way every day to be viable. It's quite easy to reduce your amount of hands or increase your hands. So it becomes a flexible space. We can work longer hours or we can work a bit shorter hours.
I like that you don't actually have a plan, because what you're really saying is that day to day you run quite a flexible model, and the benefits of having people and not machines is you don't have to sweat the machine that owes you lots of money to earn it back. You've got a flexible team of people.
Yeah, and we're very live to market. We're dealing with a very short shelf life product. For instance, with our distribution team, if it's a rainy old day or a rainy weekend, we know that certain supermarkets who have underground car parks may sell more because people will choose to park underground. So we're that in tune with the market. If we know a big rugby game's on or something and people are going to have a garlic bread, hey, we know to put more in to the markets on those weekends. So it really does make a difference when you're totally in tune with your market, and then that flows to, hey, we need to bake X amount because this event's coming up. So we've again, flexibility is one of our key strengths.
Easy to spot as well, that pink branding, you can see it a mile away. I think it's a very smart decision, and it's an easy one to, if you've enjoyed it the first time and maybe didn't remember the name of the company, you definitely see that pink.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think more people go, people ask me what I do. I say, bake bread. Oh, we do supply that. Have you got a shop? Oh, we supply into supermarkets. Oh, right. Oh, it's not that pink one, is it?
It's one of the best branding decisions, just to be known by a colour. It's hard, but if you can become known by just a colour, then everything else that colour reminds someone of your product.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, as a kid, I remember the pink bat ads on TV. Think Pink and the Pink Panther. So yeah, I guess there's something back there.
And all from a genesis of an idea of a Kiwi on their OE based in London, travelling around Turkey, going to do the rite of passage to ANZAC to visit our forefathers there, and then doing the hard part, which is actually going through and making it happen, taking that idea and implementing it. How many years has it been now that you've been running Turkish Bread?
16 years. And when you frame it up like that, Ryan, if you ask me would I do it all again, no, it's been a lot of hard work to get that business to sit up and become what it has become. So yeah, but it's certainly looking back is a wonderful thing to enjoy the success that pink packet has had.
Good luck on the next 16 years for Turkish Bread. Really appreciate you sharing your story today on a Kiwi Original. It's stories like this that more Kiwis need to hear about. It's an amazing story.
Yeah, no, thank you, Ron, and thanks for the opportunity. And we're very proud to support that branding on our packaging.
When I saw that, I thought that's one I've got to try, take home and enjoy. And I appreciate you having the New Zealand made on there, because you do have such a strong brand. And the two, some people will see the New Zealand made, some people see the pink as probably a rebuy. They work hand in hand.
Awesome. No worries.
Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
I always like the crust. I usually like the end bit, cut that part off.
No, someone needs to. Yeah.
Thank you for watching this episode of a Kiwi Original. If you like what you saw, then hit the subscribe button and you'll get other episodes just like this one in your inbox. Make sure you hit the bell too for notifications, and you'll be served up uniquely Kiwi stories like this one, contributing to New Zealand's future.